Good afternoon, guys. Please confirm that you can hear me so that we can get started, and also that you can see my screen that I'm sharing. Please confirm that you can hear me and that you can see my screen so that we can get started. You can also unmute your mics just so that I can also test if I can hear you guys.
So can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you. And good afternoon to you. Okay. I'm just waiting, I think 2 more minutes, then we will get started. Please pardon the noise if you hear some background noise in the common room, so it might be a bit noisy. Okay, so I guess some people were logging in and logging out, so there might be a slight delay. Or they will join us later on. Nonetheless, let's get started. Today's session is basically revision and also summary and conclusion on the test that you guys have completed. And I would also like to do hopefully I can do a short demonstration regarding what it is we requested from you guys, so that you can also see how it's done using your mobile phones or computer devices as well. So just need to make sure everything is here. Okay, so it should still work fine. All right, so let's get started. Welcome to everybody. Thank you for joining this session. We do hope, however, that by, I think, day after tomorrow, we will hear some good news regarding the school, and we are supposed to be scheduled to start school next week. So we hope that most of you have not given up on your futures, because life is very tough if you don't have a way to make income, especially under this lockdown condition. So we do hope with the 2 months that we have, we will be able to prepare you better for the exams. And you guys are at the final stretch, so I hope that you do make it as well. So next week, we are supposed to commence with face-to-face. according to our schedule. And we hope that the president doesn't change his mind regarding that. So we keep all of those things in prayer. Nonetheless, we have most of the things uploaded on our classroom. So if there's problems, we can always just check it out. So I've also noticed that only a few people actually know how to use Google Classroom very well. For example, here it says 4 has turned in and 53 has been assigned. But the people who turned in is just a button that once you have done the work, there's a button, I think on the right side that says turn in or submitted. So you just switch that button on to say I've done the homework, and that's basically, or the test, or I've done the task that we have given you. So only about 4 or 5 people know that they should switch on that button after they have done. But nonetheless, many people do attempt it, or those who really want to try to attempt it. So today I wanted us to go through the test itself and see where there were problems so that we can explain. But I wanted to explain all the questions in the given time that we have. And then I think that will also be a good way to see how fast we can do some of these questions. And then I just wanted to talk about the structure of the questions. These are exam type questions. So the structure is very similar to what you will get in the exams. And we will proceed with that. Let's just make it a little bit big so that we can all see. So for online tests, we will be using this. In case lockdown is still continuing, then we will be taking this approach very seriously. So do take note on the following. Sometimes we do request an email, especially when it's a test, because once you have submitted, it will tell you that you have submitted your paper through notification via email. Your name is always a requirement, surname is always a requirement, and grade 11, A, B, C, D, whatever you are. This is also a requirement. This is basically how we will collect your data. And then we have the questions that we have here. So you will notice it says question 1, and then on the right hand side, that's where the number of marks are allocated. That is basically what we have for question 1. So we would like to go through question 1 quickly. It says shape T is reflected in the line X equals -1 to give shape R. Then shape R is reflected in the line Y equals -2 to give shape S. And then we have to describe the single transformation that will map T to S. So if I have quickly bring up my drawing tools over here, I just want to highlight key parts of the question. So on the diagram itself, we have T, okay? So T is, I'll use green. The T is what we have. So T, we reflect on this part over here to give us a new shape R, okay? So R is not on the diagram, so it means we have to draw in R, okay? And then once we have drawn in R, which is this one over here, then we apply again reflection using this, and then we create a new shape called S, which I can at least call brown. So once we have that new shape S, then we compare our T to our S. Okay, so we compare the T to the S, and we see what form of transformation that forms, and then we give our answer in that form, right? So okay, let's get started with that. For the first part, I hope you guys understand what we're going to do. We are going to answer the first question. I've seen some of the work, and I will be giving your work back next week. Some of our students were not available. They asked it asked for extensions, so I've extended those who still wants to complete it, so that we can at least have more attempting it as well. And those students are not here today as well, so it's safe to say we can proceed. Okay, so over here I've just drawn in an example of what it is we want to do. So this is basically like the T we have in our diagram. Okay, this is T, same coordinates I used so that it can be as accurate as possible. Just check here. This point over here is 3, x is 2, y is 3, x is 1, y is 1, x is 3, y is 1, exactly identical to what we have over here, except I've tried to make it as small as possible or as accurate as possible that we can do. So I'm just putting T inside there, and now we have to perform the questions that we have over here. So let me just quickly snap that so that at least we can see the questions itself. All right. There is a reason why I'm taking this approach, because I want to show you a few things that we need to do. So when we are doing the reflection line, okay, the first one says T is reflected on line x equals to -1. So where is that line x equals to -1? So this part over here is where x equals to -1. This, you can see I drew in the brown line over there, and you would notice that over here, right, where the x-axis is, over that point over there, there's a -1. So every point on this line is x equals to -1. So this is one of the first things we also did in class when we did the coordinate geometry. And that is what we have. So I'm first drawing in that line because that is what we will use. And then we just do the reflection. So the reflection is straightforward. If you have now this line, then you count from this line. You don't count from the origin, you count from this line. So that coordinate does not matter there. You just use this as your new 0 line, and then we use that to count, okay? So in this case, I'll just go along the 1 here, 1, 2, and then I will do the same thing on the other side. And this time I will create a new point, okay? So this is 1, 2, so I'll also go 1, 2. That's the point over there. And then the other one, it continues 1, 2, all right? That's the point over there. But I think from here we can just also quickly do those 3 points there. And this is the image that we have said. It's created from R, and that will be, from T, and that will be our R, okay? So if you want to confirm, just check here from D to the reflection line is 1, 2, A, 1, 2, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, F, 1, 2, 3, 4, B, 1, 2, 3, E, 1, 2, 3, okay? So that's just how I confirm. So drawing a reflection is quite simple. So now we have R, okay? And from R, it says R is reflected on the line y equals to -2 to give the shape S, okay? So let's now quickly reflect R again. First, we need to find y equals to -2. So y equals to -2 is the following line over here. So I'm just gonna draw that in way over there. And now we reflect the same shape. We reflect the same shape, but using this line over here. So I'll start with point D, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's the point over there. Then I can see the next point will be over there. The next point will be over here, and we will have a shape that is like this. So now you can see we have extra drawings inside. We had, this is x equals -1. This is y equals -2. This is r, and this becomes shape S. And now we have two shapes. We have shape S, T, and R, and we have to compare T and S together. So this is basically what we wanted to see in your diagram. Before we go to the last question, just a moment, because the last question here says we have to describe. Okay, we have to describe the transformation T and S. And before we go to that one, let's first show you how we would have seen. So this was your original shape. You get a mark for the first image. Normally in the exam, I made this to 2 because I only wanted the description between T and S. Okay, so for your working, if this was the full examination question, right, we would have given you a mark for this shape, a mark for that shape, and if there's indications that you have your mirror lines for the 2, that would have also been a mark. Okay, but I reduced this marks to half a mark and so forth, because I didn't want to test on this. I just wanted to see, do you know your coordinate geometry? Can you draw a reflection? Because this is like grade 8, grade 9 work. So it's not really what we wanted you to do, but we wanted to see if you can identify what is happening between T and S if we only give you T. Okay. So that is basically what we wanted to see. And showing and leaving all your working is also very important, because it will allow us to see where did you get or where did you make a mistake, or where will you need extra help. All right. So let's get started now. So please do note, first and foremost, that the shapes that we are having now, I'm going to rename here. If you notice that the A changed into the D over here, the D changed into the G. So this G will be the same as my A in T, okay? Then the H will be the same as my C in T, and the I will be the same as my B in T. So this is important, because when we are doing our transformations, we need to have the same points that are on the same places as well. So what I can first do is the following, right? I can join those all the points together like this. I'll join point A to point A. I'll join point C to point C, and I will join point B to point B. And already you would have noticed that when I joined all of those points together, they actually meet at a certain place. All right, they meet at the coordinate over there, where the x equals to -1 and y equals to -2 meet. They also both of them meet exactly at that same point over there. All right, so this is also one thing to note. Okay, center of whatever we have, it's rotation, translation, reflection, whatever we will describe it out, it will basically have this as the center. All right, so that is our first thing, which I'm going to write down over here. I'll say my center, okay, which I have identified now by joining all the points, as a coordinate of x is -1, y is -2. That is an important thing. Whenever we ask you a question like this, where we say describe, okay? So our describing means we want 2 answers, all right? That is where the 2 marks is coming from. One, we want the name. Okay? We want the name of the transformation, and we want the center. Okay? Center, or we want origin, or line of reflection or whatever it is. We always want that center where they correspond to each other. Okay, so that is basically what we need in this term. All right, so from here, now all we need to do is to find out what is actually happening here. So you would also know that this looks very, very close and similar. If I just check from here, how to make this a easy picking is if I have the center over here, right? And I check the distance from the center to point A or the center to point B. If I just count the blocks here, it's probably 1, 2, 3. Here it will be 1, 2, 3 also. This already tells me that this would be a form of rotation. If we rotate this shape T along this center, 90 degrees over here, and then 180 degrees over here. Then if I rotate it 180 degrees, it will produce S. Okay, so just by looking at this, if this points we joined as a center already, when there's a center already, what do we call it? It basically tells us we are not doing reflection. We are doing a type of rotation or translation. Either that is what the center implies. So in this case, we know it's not translation specifically because the shape is not getting smaller. It's still the same shape. Okay, so translation is removed, but we can now go to check rotation. So it definitely is rotation because if you change this shape 90 degrees and 180 degrees, you will end up in this along that center which we identified. So when we are answering our question in Google Classroom, you have to clear the drawings. We would now say this shape has been, sorry about that, rotation. We can also put here 180 degree rotation. Okay, with center of rotation -1, -2. So that is basically the answer we wanted to see in here. All right, so 180 degree rotation, that tells me specific what is the rotation, and the center of rotation, which is -1 and -2, which we already identified. So this is where the 2 marks came from. So if you wrote in here any form of, even if you don't say 180 degrees, but if you say rotation with center of rotation like this, yeah, you will still get your full 2 marks. But if you only say rotation alone, it's only 1 mark. So this is basically what we want to see when we are asking you to describe. Normally you will see that we add another word in front of describe. We say fully describe. Okay, and that is what we have. So it's also a single transformation. It's only a single transformation. That means it's only happening once. So we rotated 180 degrees, and that is what we have between S and T. Okay, so this is also, you will be able to do it on this paper because the coordinates are a little bit better. I must ask the person who is Samsung, please don't write on the board, else we will remove you as well. Okay, so I will ask Samsung, please type in the chat who you are for the time being. Or you can just send me a text so that I can proceed. All right, let's proceed. So that was the first question over here. So that is what we, either you type it in with words, that's the space where we can type in with words, it's fine. Now we move over to the second question. The second question is, which of this is the inverse? So you have a matrix over here, and we have a multiple choice grid. So you just have to select either A, B, C, or D if there's no inverse. So, and this is one of the common questions that we would also like you to quickly identify which one is the inverse or not. And so for us to quickly do this, we first need to check, does the inverse exist? So if we want to know if an inverse exists, we just check the determinant, right? If there is a determinant, and if the determinant is not equal to 0, then there's an inverse, right? So determinant is our cross multiplication followed by subtraction. So we have -1 times 3 minus 3 times -5 right? I just have to put this in special brackets so that we can have, so I have here -3 minus 15, and that will be in brackets. So I have 3 plus -3 plus 15 will give me a 12. So my determinant is 12. So I know definitely my answer is not going to be D, because there is going to be an inverse, right? So my determinant is already identified. That's the first one. And I want to now quickly do this one on a piece of paper so that you can see how we can upload this answer, or if we need to do an upload later on, that's fine. So I just want to quickly do this as an example on pen and paper. So just quickly bear with me. Okay, so please confirm if you can still see me and if you can still hear me. Can we just quickly disconnect? Okay, I just want to quickly connect my phone to the computer so that you can see how we can also do this on the mobile phone. That way it will be easier later on for you guys also. So I will be, just to show you quickly, I will be writing the rest of the steps on the piece of paper. And after the piece of paper, we will scan it into the computer as well. And then we will show you how to do the upload as well. So that is also what I'm just showing you so that it becomes a normal thing to do. Because going forward, whether you go to university or everything like that, you will still have to use the same process. Okay. And also for the next questions that we will be attempting, we will also be using the same process again. All right. Quickly close this. Antivirus is very strong. Okay, but so far you guys get what I am talking about. And after the determinant over here, we will have to find the adjoint. And after the adjoint, we will be basically looking at finding the determinant or the inverse, sorry. And then we will be solving out. All right. So I wanted to do that, but it's having a slight, doesn't want to pop up here. Okay, so if I'm connecting my phone to the laptop, it's taking some problems. Disconnect. Okay, so it's not connecting now. So I think we will do that for the next session. Let me just finish this then here. All right. So quickly to finish this, we need the adjoint as well. So let me just write the adjoint over here. So the adjoint is just the matrix. And we said we flip the 2. So it will be 3 minus 1. And then the rest will have negative numbers into it. So that will be 5. This will be minus 3. And then we can do the inverse. I should probably just move everything over here to this side so that I can just draw the adjoint over here. So inverse is therefore equals to, let me just start here, IV 1 over the determinant, which is 12, multiplied by the adjoint, which is 3, 5, minus 3, minus 1. And here I will have a matrix where I have 3 over 12, 5 over 12, minus 1 over 12, and minus 3 over 12. So that is basically what we have. Simplified version, 1 over 4 minus 1 over 4 minus 1 over 12 and 5 over 12. That is the simplified version. And all I need to do is see if I have something like this over here, and I can clearly see that my C answer, which is this one over here, looks exactly as how I calculated it. Okay, so that will be your answer here is C, and that would answer this question alone. All right, so that solves this part. Okay. For the next part, which is this one over here, and it says add a file. Now that is why I wanted to already connect to the phone so that we can show you how to add the files and do the things on paper as well. However, we have a slight connection problems, but we will attempt this on the computer itself, and then hopefully after the second session we will connect everything together with the phone so that we can show how we can do this one as well. So with this one, let me just quickly copy the question. I hope that the first questions are okay. And we may proceed to the next question. So complete the diagram based on the information below. So we have to complete the diagram, and it says triangle A is transformed by the combined transformation of a rotation of 180 degrees about the point minus 2, 0, followed by translation with a vector this. Okay, this is the vector translation that we have to do. So this is how I introduced vectors over here. So you need to know as well when we are doing a translation form of a vector, how we can also apply that into our transformation. Right. So first is the triangle is transformed, okay, by a combination combined transformation of 180 rotation, okay, about that point, followed by a translation with a vector, all right? And then now we basically have to reconstruct all those processes that we have. So first we do a transformation of rotation, okay, 180 degrees at the center, and then we will do the translation with the vector, okay? So we slide it into that position. With that, let's quickly go over here. I have the same triangle in the same position as the previous one that we had. And first thing is the center, okay, which they describe to us, which is this one. So I have to identify this point first. X is -2, y is 0. That point is fairly simple. X is -2, y is 0. That is this point over here. So this D point is the center. And once you have the center, then all we need to do is to basically join the 2 points and create a line. So my first will be one that passes through A and D in that direction. The other one will be for C. C and D goes into that direction. And then we'll have B and D, which will go into that direction. And by that, you can already see that these points are basically connected, and we can reconstruct new points for the new triangle based on 180 rotation. So 180 rotation is just, if you have the center, then you just draw the line there. So then we count from C to the center. That is like one diagonal block. Okay, so I'll also go one diagonal block over here. That will be point E. This is connected to C. Okay, this will be now the rotation. 180 rotation is just on a straight line. Okay, from this, if you go using your compass back on the straight line, that is the point that we are talking about. And A is on this line, so A will be one block across from the new one. So A will be over, just make this straight, over there. That will be F. And then B is just on this line over here. And now we need to know how far is it from one of this, from D. We can either go counting up, 1, 2, 3, 4 up. All right, so I will do the same from here, 1, 2, 3, 4 up, and right there where the line is touching the 4 or the -4, that is basically where my new point will be, and I will just close off the angle like that. So I hope that you see the method that I have done, all right? How to draw those rotation very quickly. So this is the rotated shape about 180 degrees. If you rotate it 90 degrees and then rotate it again, you will end up in this position when we use this coordinate as the center of rotation. All right. It seems like we only have a few seconds left, so let us just quickly reconnect, and then we will proceed from here with the